Okay, so we're going to go ahead and practice measuring some lines and seeing how it works. We're going to first start with the centimeter side because centimeters is a little bit easier because again it just counts in that tenths. And how we can tell it counts in tenths is because if you count the spaces, not the lines, you can see that we have 10 spaces in between each number. Okay, so if we look at it, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how we know it's counting in tenths, okay? So on the bottom of my fraction, we're going to put 10, okay? Now, let's go ahead and give ourselves a line. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and move my ruler. So it's very important to note that when you're using a ruler, you do not use the end of the ruler. You're going to use the first tick mark on the ruler. You want to go to 0. Don't use the end of the ruler, otherwise you're going to be off in your measurement. So you're going to line it up with the first tick mark, and then you're going to line it up with the last tick mark that it's on. So we have 7 holes at least, so this is going to be a mixed number. We have 7 holes, and then we have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10. So this would be 9 out of 10. Now you always want to check your fraction and see if it can reduce in your calculator, okay? This one does not, so your final answer would be that this is 7 9/10 centimeters is how long this line is. Okay, let's go ahead and practice another one. Let's go right there. Okay. So we're going to draw that line right there. We have 5 holes, so we have 5. And then we still have those 10 spaces in total, which means we're counting by tenths. Now we'll count the spaces until we get to where we need to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 tenths. This also does not reduce. Always double check it in your calculator. So this would be 5 7/10. Okay. Now let's go ahead and check some on the inches side. We're going to go ahead and try to measure something on our inches. Remember that whenever you're measuring something, you always want to line the ruler up with the first tick mark, not with the edge of the ruler. Okay, so we're going to line our ruler up with that first tick mark. And that is going to put us at right here. Okay, so what I was saying in the Nearpod is that every time you don't know how much it's counting by, just count the total number of spaces. So if we just look at, you can look at in between any of the two numbers. So I'm going to look between just 3 and 4 right here. And if I didn't remember that it counts in 16ths, I would just look at how many spaces there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 spaces in between each whole number, so that means I'm counting by 16ths. Okay, you can always count by 16ths, or you can count by some of the longer ones if you remember what those were from the Nearpod. Okay. If you don't want to, you can just always count by those 16ths because there's 16 total spaces. So our line is a little bit past 4, so that means we're going to have 4 and a certain amount of pieces. Okay, so if I move my ruler a little bit, I can see that we're in between 4 and 5. I'm going to go ahead and count how many pieces that is. So this would be 1, 2, 3. So this would be 3 16ths. 3 16ths does not reduce, so this is your final answer. It'd be 4 3/16 inches. Okay, let's go ahead and do another one. Okay, let's go ahead and go to this line right here. Oops, I got rid of too much. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and look at this line. Whoop, it got super skinny for some reason. Okay, so we're gonna line our ruler up. Always make sure you're lined up with that edge. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and move that. Wanna make sure we're nice and lined up. Okay, so it's kind of skinny, but we can see that this line ends right here. Okay, so notice that the line that it lines up with is not the smallest one. That means we could count in something that's not 16ths. In this case, this is an 1/8 line. So you could just look at these lines and the ones bigger than it. You can skip the small ones if you want to count by 1/8. Okay, so we would look at all of these longer lines. So if we're looking at just the 1/8 spaces, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5/8. Now if you did not want to count in 1/8 and you just wanted to count in 16ths, you could still do that too. You're just going to have to reduce your fraction if you line up with one of the bigger lines. Okay, so if we just count in 16ths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that would be 10/16, and if you reduce that, you get 5/8, because we're dividing by 2. And it is bigger than 3, so that would mean our final answer is 3 5/8. Okay, always make sure you're reducing your fractions, especially if you're on a bigger line on the inches side. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another one. Okay, so look at this line. It's lined up right here at the end. This is looking good. Now we want to make sure it's lined up over here. It is lined up with a longer line. That means I could count by something else, not just 16ths. In this case, this is a 4th line. The half line is the longest one right there in the middle. Sometimes it's the same length as the 4ths, but usually it's just a tiny bit longer. Okay, so this is a 4th. So I'm looking at all the ones the same size as it and the ones a little bit bigger. So if we count our spaces, how many spaces do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. So this would be 3/4. And if we don't want to count by 3/4 and you want to count by 16ths instead, that's okay. Just count all of the tiny spaces. Okay? So we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that would give me 12/16, and this reduces to 3/4 because we can divide both of those. Okay? By 4. If we divide both of those by 4, we get 3/4. And we are 1 bigger, so we'd go 1 3/4 of an inch. And that is how you measure with a ruler.